Good morning. How is everybody? It's a weekend. Today I'd like to talk to you about God and human beings. As I mentioned several times in the past, at the original time of the creation, God found a fish and a serpent in the muddy waters among all the locusts, and took them as a prototype of the first man and first woman. So animals reincarnated into a she-monkey at the end, and out of the she-monkey was born many human beings with the face of a man or woman. And so we have passed through millions of years. I'm not sure how long, but here we are. So it's as God is our creator, God is our parent, father and mother. So under God, all the human beings are brothers and sisters. This is not hard to understand. And as we are brothers and sisters, we should respect each other, help each other, love each other. Christianity teaches to love each other, and Tennikyo teaches love, brotherly love, and to help each other. And the relationship between God and man is parent and child, so you could talk to God as you would your parents. Ask for things, prayer, do prayers for healing, for others and your family. So the relationship is between parent and child. In this world, there are 10 workings of God. Firstly, the workings of water. Water is one of the primary workings of God. There is water in our eyes, the moisture. Without this moisture in the eyes, we would have sore eyes because they would be all dry. And we have water in our bodies to maintain its functionability. And we have water in the workings of the rain to nurture the plants, vegetables, and fruits that we may plant. And the water and sunlight nurtures our food. Sunlight and water nurture the animals too that we consume, cows, pigs, and other animals. So God is always working for us inside our bodies and outside our bodies. Secondly, we have the workings of God in the sunlight and warmth in our bodies. Without sunshine, there will be all darkness, and we cannot survive in a place without sunshine and warmth because our bodies are made that way. We cannot survive without warmth. Inside our bodies, there is warmth. Our temperature, body temperature, is kept at a constant number. 98.6 was it? Anyway, please forgive me if I make mistakes because in those numbers and statistics, because I have senior moments that I have to deal with. So please excuse me on that. So we have warmth in our bodies. Without the warmth from the sunlight, we cannot sustain our lives, live on our own, because we be turning all cold. And you know that the human bodies can't survive in all cold. That is God's working. So that's two. The third one is the joining of the skin. And when you get a cut on your hand, then as time goes on, you know that the skin joins together. That's the act of God, workings of God to heal the cut and join the skin once again. That is God working for us in our bodies. And at the time of childbirth, there is the cutting between the parent and the child. This cutting is also the working of God. It allows the baby to, God allows the baby to live on its own. Anyway, there are 10 workings of God. We talked about the joining. That was the skin joining. And then the joining of a couple. That's God joining a man and a woman in matrimony. So that is the working of God, joining. And there is yes, I've talked about this before, but there is a support in our body, support in the trees. Without a support, which is the working of God, we will collapse to the ground and the trees would collapse also. There is a working of support. That is the working of God. And there's, okay, I'm saying Japanese, the names of God. Kumoyomi no Mikoto is the God that works the ingestion, digestion, and excretion. And within the world, there is condensation, precipitation, and evaporation. And so it goes in a cycle. Condensation, precipitation, and evaporation. And the water cycle goes around and around between heaven and earth. Oh, at the time of the creation, God used the man to be a representation for heaven and the woman to be earth. They never touch each other anywhere you go around the globe. The earth does not touch the sky and the sky doesn't touch the earth. So we're taught that if a woman tries to reach the heavens that she cannot reach, then she is bound to get hurt. That is one of the teachings I've heard in Tenrikyo. I thought I'll just throw that in there for some information. And, excuse me. So we're at Kumoyomi no Mikoto. Next is the working of the wind. The wind, in the outside world, okay, the wind moves the clouds and the wind, that includes air, oxygen. So the wind or the air is very important in this sustaining life. God is working for us in the wind and in the air around us to let us live. That's working of God. And inside our bodies, God has designed our bodies so that we can take in breath and it goes through the lungs and so on, and then out again through the mouth or the nose. So that is the natural working of God. And then Taishokuten no Mikoto is the god of cutting. At the time of childbirth, the mother and the baby's umbilical cord would be cut. That is the working of God, and the baby is still able to sustain its life. That's God's working. And at the time of death, God the parent works in the cutting of breath. Excuse me. Just like the next is pulling. Just like God, he pulls out the baby from the mother's womb in a slow motion, where the mother goes through pain and labor, pain and suffering, to bear a baby. And that is a working of God, in that God is pulling the baby out. And in the outside world, the plants, with the seed planted in the ground, something pulls it upward. That is a pulling by God the parent, pull it upward. So besides those workings of God that I mentioned here, there is also Taishokuten no Mikoto, Otonobe no Mikoto, Izanagi no, and then there's a number one instrument of man, a number one instrument of a woman, and together they have a baby, and so goes on life. That is all the workings of God the parent. God has designed our bodies so that we can live on earth. God is always working inside our bodies. So, and only our minds are ours. So God is always one with us. God is inside our bodies. And so just like a human couple is referred to as one, husband and wife becoming one, we are one with God. God is all around us and inside us. So we are one with God, thankfully. Only our minds are ours. So how we use our minds determines whether we suffer, or we're sad, or we're content and happy. I gave you an example where I was diagnosed with diabetes. Now my A1C is, it used to be 7. Then it went down to 5.9 for a long time. And now it's 6.0. It's still good. And I was thankful that God was touching me, putting his hand on me, and I felt loved by God. And I felt thankful for my dry mouth, because it would force me to drink more water. So I was thankful for that. So any misfortune or calamity that befalls on us, it can be turned into joy by how we use our minds, how we think. So even if I were in a car accident tomorrow, maybe I could turn my mind around and say, oh, I'm still alive. And God is trying to teach me something, and I have to reflect on myself. What did I do to cause this accident? And then I can backtrack and find out, oh, this is where I went wrong. Excuse me. So anything that happens to us, they say that it happens for a reason. Oh, it might come out of karma, or in our case, we call it innen, which is causation. Excuse me. Causation is, okay, A plus B equals C. So I'm trying to think of a simple example. Good causation might be I planted a seed, a vegetable, I watered it in sunlight, and it grew. So the planting, watering equals seed, and the vegetable grew, and I was able to eat it. So that's a good causation. A bad causation might be there's allergies going around. Excuse me. So a bad causation might be, okay, so I was having bad thoughts toward my sister, older sister. Because sometimes we get along better these days, but there was a time when I found faults in my older sister, and I used to complain about her in my heart. And I used to have bad thoughts toward her. Then I got into a car accident. So then I had to reflect on myself and realize that because of my bad thoughts, there was an accident, and then I got hurt. So A plus B equals C again, because of my bad thoughts, and I got into a car accident and I was hurt. So there is causation, I think, and I understand from the teachings that there's causation for everything. So some people are born with a limb missing, and then they might think, why me? Why did it happen to me? And everybody else has limbs, but it happened to me for some reason. In Tennikyo thought, we are taught that we had lived in the past life, and we reincarnated into our current life. And so if we're born with a limb missing, that is a causation from, we think and believe that it is a causation planted in the previous life, which can make sense because our God and Oya-sama taught us about reincarnation. So in the time of passing, we had borrowed these bodies from God. We're returning the body, but we carry our souls and our spirit into the next life. So whatever we had with us is carried on to the next life, if that makes sense to you. I just believe because I don't doubt the words of God or Oya-sama, because there's no falsehood in what God says. I wanted to talk to you about various things, different things, but anyway, I think I'm kind of exhausted my speech for this morning, so I will stop here. I wish you a happy day, a healthy life, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.